there'd be 1,000 blossoms bloom.
No forced redundancies.
Sit down, Wilfred. Just sit down.
If you like what you hear, you can show us some love too. Follow our socials on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok and YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to us on right now. Hi everyone and welcome back. We're trying a slightly different format for the podcast this week, so if you like it, please let us know, or if you don't like it, let us know too. And I'm here with Shannon, our Shadow Treasury spokesperson, and it's budget week, so not a normal week.
No, it's a big week,
Yeah.
but a fun week.
Yeah, it has been. So in budget week, the government delivers the budget on Tuesday, then the opposition leader does a budget reply on Thursday, and then all of the members of parliament speak about the budget. And because I think the budget reply was more interesting than the budget, we're going to start there.
100%.
We asked people to send in their questions about both the budget and the budget reply, and we'll chat about those. So the first one is about our initiative to encourage more people to take up construction apprenticeships, because the first problem we have is we don't have enough houses, and we've got to build all these hospitals and stadiums and roads, rail projects. We need more tradies to build houses in Queensland. The government's answer is to beg, borrow and steal tradies from other places, but we want an army of Queensland tradies, young Queenslanders working on our construction sites. We should say what we're going to do though. So the initiative is to give free rego to construction apprentices through the length of their training, so the whole 4 years, and also if they're employed in a small or family business, give free rego to their trade supervisor to try to encourage them to take on an apprentice. A first year carpentry apprentice earns $638 a week, which is not very much.
It's not a lot.
The rego bill.
And one of the big things that happens, particularly first and second year apprentices, is a lot of them drop out. And so to drive up completion rates so that we get more qualified tradies, any little bit that helps with their cost of living can really make a big difference to them staying in their apprenticeship.
That's right, keeping them there for the whole time is half the battle.
And we had Carly come in,
Carly.
plumbing apprentice,
and
she just loved this announcement, and she talked about how obviously a lot of our apprentices and tradies, they would love to be able to catch public transport and use Labor's 50-cent fares, but they often have to take their tools with them, and there's a lot of tools they need. So, just filling up the car with petrol at the moment is a huge expense, and so, being able to have that free rego would really go a long way towards helping them.
Yeah, that's right. The first question people sent in was why just construction apprentices? What about chefs and hairdressers?
Oh, that's a really good question. But as we said, we have this huge pressure around building houses right now, as well as the hospitals and the schools and everything else we need to do. And so the really big skills shortage that's here now and is only going to get worse if we don't encourage more young Queenslanders to get involved in a construction trade is a skills shortage in construction.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
I think families right across Queensland thinking about what their kids are going to do in the future, knowing that there is going to be, huge amounts of jobs in construction, and the fact that a future Labor government might make it a little bit easier for them, I think is a really great policy initiative.
Yeah, I think that's right. We do need more of all of the trades, but even they will need houses. Yeah. And so the first thing we need to do is build the houses so that we can get all those other trades. Now the next one's a bit challenging of us. The next person said, this isn't a housing solution, just a policy snack pretending to be dinner.
Oh, well, I reckon this is a full club sandwich. It is a really big shift in how we think about supporting our apprentices and, as you say, the small businesses that put them on, because it really, I think, can be the difference between people deciding to take up an apprenticeship, staying in an apprenticeship, and the difference between a small business saying yes or no to offering a young person, their future career. So it is a significant policy, and it, it's a significant cost too, but it's worth it, because how else are we going to build the homes we need? Well,
that's right, and of course we've got a lot more to come between now and 2028, so there's plenty of time.
It's just the start.
It is just the start, which brings us, I think, brings us pretty well to the next question, which is what's in it for renters? I don't think I'll ever be able to buy a home now. And why don't you talk a bit about bond transfers and interest on bonds?
Yeah, so as you know, if you're renting, you've paid your bond and then you have to move. You don't get your bond back straight away to be able to pay your bond for the next house. So being able to transfer that bond from house to house, as opposed to having to pay 2 sets of bonds, which is thousands and thousands of dollars, I think just makes so much sense. And it will be such a game changer for those people renting. And of course, the other exciting announcement you made was that people will actually get the interest back on their bonds. So if you think about it, you've paid your bond, that money at the moment goes to the government. Yes. It's your money, and you should be getting back the interest on that money. And if you've been renting for years and years, that can be a significant amount that can help you save for a deposit to finally get a foothold in the property market. So again, and this would be the first time any state in Australia has done this.
Yeah, and I think it just makes sense. It's your money, you should get interest on it.
Your money.
We worked out for someone in an average rental for about 9 years, it could add $1,400 to their savings.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is significant.
Yep.
So, I think this is a great policy initiative, and I think it shows that, again, we're in an affordability crisis, we're in a housing affordability crisis.
Yep.
These are some really good ideas that Labor is willing to take forward to the next election and hopefully implement in government.
Yeah. And another thing I was proud to do on behalf of Labor was talk about the contribution everyone in our state makes to making our state great, whether they were born here, whether they moved here, whether their grandparents or parents immigrated here, and really take on this notion from Pauline Hanson that we should be a monoculture.
Oh, absolutely. And so good to have yourself, Stephen, as the Labor leader stand up in the Parliament and take on that really important debate, because I represent a community in Logan. We are one of the most diverse cities in the country, and that's what makes it such a great place to live. And I think it was wonderful that we've announced we are going to be, doubling the support for our multicultural organisations and leaders to host wonderful events that make our community so special.
Yeah, I think that's right. And so one Reddit user mentioned that the LNP are trying to pander to One Nation before they are wiped out by them.
Oh, I think that's exactly what's happening at a national level with Angus Taylor, but also here in Queensland. I have not heard David Crisafulli, who talks about being, the proud son of migrants, take on Pauline Hanson on this very point at all. He has not stood up and talked about, how we have to stop the politics of division and fear at all.
No, that's right.
And so I think that's really disappointing from David Crisafulli, and I'm so proud that Labor and yourself have stood up and made that point in the Parliament and backed it up with really tangible, good policies.
Yep. And so also on housing, we released our housing affordability crisis in Queensland issues paper, which we'll post a link to, but it's got a survey at the back for people to tell us what they think.
Yeah, and I think you've been out there listening to people, and Megan as well as our Shadow Housing Minister, really talking to, experts and consultants and stakeholder groups, but also people who are just really struggling with the cost of housing right now.
Yep.
And you've managed to pull all of that together. And you've grabbed ideas from some of the things other states are doing, some of the ideas that have come from the people you've chatted to, and now we can actually go out and really, hear from people about these ideas and put together some really strong policies to take to the next election, because housing is everything.
Yep.
Like if you can get affordable housing right for people, so much else in their life, for them to be able to find meaningful employment and everything else comes after getting housing right. It is such a fundamental.
Yeah. So moving on, Patrick asked us on Instagram, what's the news with the Green Energy and Jobs Plan, which is a great question. Unfortunately, the news isn't good though. Since the LNP took over nearly 2 years ago, only one renewable energy project has reached financial close. Every renewable energy project being delivered was approved by our government, previous government. And the energy regulator has said that that's what's driving down energy usage charges. So that pipeline of projects has been driving down prices. It's going to come to an end. Everyone in the industry tells me that they're not investing in Queensland. No. They're going to other states where their governments want to see them, even though our resources are the best in the world, really. But that doesn't overcome a government that doesn't want to see them built. They're really ideological about it, aren't they?
They're so ideological when it comes to energy. As you say, scrapping renewable energy projects, sending a signal to the market that they don't want investment here. The New South Wales Treasurer handed down their budget this week, Daniel Mookie. He said investment in renewables in New South Wales is what is, driving their budget.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we are missing out on that investment because this LNP government is so backwards when it comes to renewable energy.
Yeah, that's right. Well, moving then from my big policy passion onto yours, women's health and better women's health services. You often say 1 in 10 women deal with endometriosis and other, pelvic pain and those kinds of things. Just dealing with constant pain. Anything in the budget for women and women's health?
No. It was actually really disappointing. Their women's budget statement was 4 pages.
Yeah.
4 pages. Our last women's budget statement was 48 pages. And as you know, we worked together on a fantastic women's health strategy, over $1 billion, to really, put in place pelvic pain clinics, to train doctors so that we get earlier diagnosis on endometriosis. One of the things that this LNP government have cut is we announced that we would put in place public funding for IVF for women with cancer and other complex medical conditions. They have scrapped that, which is devastating and heartbreaking, and it just makes me so angry. And so, yes, women really have been an afterthought in this budget. There's no new policies, and there's actually been some funding cuts to domestic and family violence as well, which is pretty devastating. Again, in New South Wales, all of the frontline domestic and family violence services got a 50% funding uplift. Our domestic and family violence services, who are overwhelmed on a daily basis, did not get any funding uplift. So, I don't think you can say women did very well out of this budget at all.
No, and I just think of, a young woman facing cancer, worried about whether they're going to live. If we can take one worry away from her, whether she can have a child, if she does.
I know.
So cruel.
It's so cruel. And when you talk to the doctors, who work with these women, they were so excited about this policy because it is incredibly costly for women who are going through cancer treatment to have to, preserve their eggs and think about fertility, as you say, just another thing to worry about. So it's devastating.
4 pages.
Ugh.
It's not very much for half of Queensland are women, and that's all they got was 4 pages.
4 pages, and this was ours. This was our last budget statement, as you can see. And yes, we talked this week about things that are longer for 4 pages. And
the Cafe 63 menu.
That menu gives me anxiety. But it's way longer than the LNP's budget statement for women. So, again, really disappointing. No new policies for women.
Yeah. And overall, we've been saying this is a budget that costs you more and gives you less. How does it cost people more?
Well, it costs people more because this government is refusing to do anything about the affordability crisis that we're in. So it's costing you more every day because the price of everything's going up.
Yep.
Your bills, your energy bills, your rent is going up, petrol's going up, everything is going up. So life is costing you more, and this government has done nothing to make that easier for people. In a matter of days, their whole cost of living strategy has completely, we say evaporated. This budget has just completely fallen into a heap in a matter of days. They promised to freeze water charges, and Urban Utilities came out the next day and said water charges are going up. It turns out, the energy prices will go up. They've actually passed on the cost to consumers, and energy prices will continue to go up. They've said no new taxes, but actually there's a sneaky tax, a waste bin tax. So it's really fallen in a heap. And there's less funding for our hospitals. So it's going to be costing you more every day, but you're going to be getting less services. Our community organisations that provide services are not getting enough in CPI to keep services running. Your health services, as I said, are not being funded to keep up with demand. So in every sense, you're going to get less back from this government, but you're going to keep paying more.
And they've said that the credit rating will probably get downgraded, which will cost us all more in the long run.
Yeah, because Queenslanders' money will be going towards paying interest on government debt as opposed to it going back into the services that Queenslanders need.
Yep.
And they've delayed a whole lot of really important infrastructure projects that Queenslanders rely on too, like over $5 billion worth of projects. So again, Queenslanders are just not getting very much at all from this budget.
So what about other ways people are worse off? Like, I'm hearing these back to school vouchers aren't really working.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've had so many families sort of complain that these are designed to help parents with primary school kids pay for the cost of getting the kids back to school. So you know what it's like. It's new shoes, it's the books, it's the uniforms, it's the station, all of that. But these vouchers aren't available until your kids actually start school. So you've already paid for everything.
Yeah, right.
And then it's a really clunky process through the school to be able to pay for much at all. A lot of families aren't accessing it, and it's difficult to access. So I think, some figures we've seen is that, a lot of families aren't even bothering with this. And if you've got kids in high school, like me, those costs actually go up because you then need laptops or iPads or, they don't get anything.
Yeah, and it's only $100. The government did increase it to $150, and every little bit helps. But, the last time I went school shoe shopping with Bridie, you didn't get many shoes for $150.
No, I think you've said you could buy one shoe.
Buy one shoe. Most kids need two.
Yeah, you do. You do. And I mean, the other thing the government is talking about is the patient travel subsidy scheme. They've announced a very small increase in the amount people can claim back through kilometres that they travel, but there's no increase to accommodation costs. And,
$70 a night.
I know.
Can't get a...
And they've increased it by $17 million over 4 years. And as I say, every little bit helps. But, when we were there, we increased it by $70 million.
That's right.
So there's really a lot more they could have done there.
We saw this ridiculous post from the LNP's Deputy Premier. For people who aren't familiar with Jared Blay, describe him for us.
So he's an Elvis impersonator in his spare time. And he kind of takes that approach in the Parliament, doesn't he? It's all about the theatre for Jared Blay. He's constantly, actually, how I would describe him is a bit of a try-hard Trump.
Yeah.
He's constantly calling people names. He's putting weird AI images of himself up there. Like he's just a bit of a try-hard Trump.
Yeah, and that's how he behaved this budget week too.
Oh God, absolutely. His contributions are just pretty unhinged. Very Trump-like.
Yeah. Well, our next question that was sent in, I love this one, but I'm going to let you answer it, Shannon. The question is, someone asked, "What is the go with 50-cent fares? Everyone knows it was your policy. So why are the LNP claiming it?"
Well, that's exactly right. I feel like you're the 50-cent fare guy, right? Like everyone knows it was your idea. We implemented it, and the LNP is so desperate to try and claim ownership of this policy. So we even introduced a bill into the Parliament to try and make 50-cent fares more permanent. Now they've done the same.
Yeah.
But, I think I said on social media this week that, imitation is the, best form of flattery. So we should be chuffed that they keep taking your ideas, I guess.
Well, that's how I feel about it. Like, I know they think they're upsetting me, but this is a thing I've wanted to do since I was a teenager. And if you're in politics because you want to make change, what matters is the change, not who gets credit for it. And so if they're claiming credit for it, that means they're not going to change it. It means we get to keep it. And that's
and
what matters
also
to me.
The more they're talking about it, the more people will kind of remember you did it for them. So it's we take it.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it.
It's a good Labor win.
All right, so we're on to some rapid fire, true or false. What's in the LNP's budget for me? And the first one is cost of living relief.
Absolutely nothing. It's all their cost of living relief has fallen apart in the last couple of days, as we've talked about.
No new taxes.
There is a tax. It's called the bin tax.
Freezing water charges.
Yeah, that fell apart. That's evaporated. Water charges are going up.
Cost of living support for parents.
As we said, the back to school boost is a bit of a bust.
Transport infrastructure.
Delayed into the never.
Energy prices.
Well, they're about to go up, as we've seen. They've just passed on a $60 million cost to consumers.
Yeah. And so people might not know about what a Parliament week looks like for us, or a budget week in particular. So I arrived here at Parliament Monday morning, haven't left. We sat until, it's Friday morning now.
What day is it?
That's right. We sat till 11:40 last night. Looks like we might not go too late tonight. I think our worst Friday of budget week, we sat till 2 or 3 a.m. Back in our first term. But I'm going to ask you first of all, best meal you've had all week.
Well, Jonty Bush,
yeah.
a member for Cooper, it was her birthday yesterday. She cooked us, she just got back from a little trip to Ireland. She cooked us all an Irish stew.
She did, and brought some Guinness in.
Yeah, so just having a home cooked meal and with all of our friends, it was so good. It was so lovely.
It was very nice. And best moment of the week?
I think it was meeting community members yesterday who were so excited about your policy announcements. It was just really nice to sit down with people who, we're excited about, what the future could look like under a Labor government again. So
I think probably, that was a great moment. And I loved giving the budget reply. That made me very proud. But this morning when we farewelled Darren, who's worked for us for 15 years, he's off to work for Jim Chalmers, the federal treasurer. But just to have all of our MPs and all of our staff together to celebrate the work he did, that was pretty special.
Made me cry.
Yeah,
that was very special.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in to our special budget and budget reply edition of the podcast. As I said, we're just seeing how it works to be a bit more newsy in the pod. So tell us what you think.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Not now, not ever.
Don't give me 1,000. Blossom, bloom.
No forced redundancies.
Sit down, Wilfred.